Hello everybody, I'm here at the 5th String in Berkeley, and we are going to be teaching you how to change your strings. Now I'm changing the strings on a guitar, but a lot of this is applicable to mandolins and banjos and ukuleles. Anything that has this sort of tuner. They do have different kinds of bridges, but we'll get to that. So let's jump right in. This is a collection of the tools we'll be using. This is a set of strings. If you're changing all your strings, then you're going to need a whole set. That's a wire cutter. You could use anything, but this is the best thing to use. This is a string winder. It makes a hard job much easier. Also very cheap. This is a tuner, which you probably will need because you want your guitar to be in tune. Here I'm using a string winder to take off one of the strings. If all I'm doing is changing the strings, then I only do that one string at a time. That way we can keep the tension on the neck the same throughout.
So there's that. I'm going to take that little notch and stick it right there and go pop. Pulls right out, and that comes right out. Let me hang on to this thing, don't lose that.
Alright, for the ball to go into the bridge, we're going to have to visualize this, but my thumb is going to pretend that it's the bridge. Then as I'm pushing, because the tendency is to just put the ball into the hole and then you push the pin in. What can happen, not always, but sometimes, is that the ball will just sit on the bottom of the pin like that. And as you're tightening up on the string, it's slowly pulling up on the pin, and sometimes shoots away. And if you're in the middle of a show, or you're sitting in front of a little child, that can be a bad thing. So what I do is take this and just give it a little bend over the pin itself, so that as I'm pushing down, the pin goes past the ball into the bridge. In other words, at this point when I'm pulling on the string and tightening it up, the ball is pulling on the pin and not on the bottom of the pin. So it's holding itself, in other words. So I always do that before I push it into the bridge. As follows. I'll just push it there, and then I can feel the pin going past the ball in there. So now I can pull on it and it's definitely not coming out at all. With the low string off, I've changed the tuner so that it's facing straight up and down from the nut. Then I run the string all the way through the hole, might take a couple tries, and pull it pretty tight so there's no slack. Then I grab the string and pull it back so there is a little slack, about the distance of 1 fret. That's how much is going to wind on the tuner itself. Then I turn it until it's at 90 degrees, and I do a very simple little lock tie where the string is going to go back around underneath the string that's going into the tuner and up over it. So that goes underneath, I pull it tight, and then bend it so that it's going over it also. Here you can see that the string is pulling on itself, so as I wind it, it'll be locked on. So as I'm winding, I'm keeping tension on the string so that when I'm turning, I can put it where I want to, which is for it to be winding down. Neatness counts here, but the string wants to wind down towards the towards the part of the headstock itself. So I'm making sure that it's winding this way towards the tuner, up, around the tuner, towards the tuner, and the winds are going down to the headstock. And at this stage, I can use this thing again, once it's on there, to just crank that up. And that's that. Let's go over that string tying thing again. When we pull the string through, it's straight up and down through the tuner. Then I pull it back the distance of 1 fret. That is how much is going to wind around the tuner.
I turn it until the tuner's at a 90-degree angle. Then I pull the string that I've just gone through the tuner underneath the string that's going through it. I pull that tight and then bend it over so that the string holds itself as it winds. Okay, so I just wanted to mention, now that I'm doing this string, it's on this side, and you're always winding towards the tuner. So in other words, on this side it's clockwise and on this side it's counterclockwise. And the reason that is because if it was winding on the other way, then you would see that the string is touching that tuner, and you don't want that. You want there to be a straight line from the nut to the string, sort of unbroken, so that it's not vibrating against anything. So if it was like this, it would be touching. Also, the reason that we have the strings wind down rather than winding up doesn't matter so much on this guitar, but is because you want that angle from the nut to be broken straight down, and so for the further down you can get it going, it just gives it a cleaner break at that nut, which is what it needs. So towards the tuner always, and always winding down. So the whole time that I was tuning it, I was keeping it in relative tune with itself. But now we want it to be in tune and stay in tune, because new strings, they go out of tune pretty quickly. So first thing I'll do is, using my tuner, get it to sure pitch, concert pitch, sharp. It was pretty close before. And then what we do is stretch the strings, because they're going to stretch anyway, so we stretch them artificially, and then it doesn't take as long for them to reach their stretched state, fully stretched. So what I do is I just grab it underneath with my thumb and fret it with the other hand in, a couple different places, basically. So I'm just yanking on the string. Not too hard, because I'm a strong guy and I have been known to break some strings. So I'll just stretch them all, tune it up again, stretch them again if I'm feeling ambitious, and tune them up again. And after 2 stretches it should be fine, as long as you've strung it right. But a good thing to do if you're about to play a show or something is just stretch it until you can keep stretching it, and it won't. You get this to the state where it doesn't go out of tune, even though you've stretched it. So that's how you stretch the string. So I hope that was helpful. Just to wrap up, I just wanted to mention that these are lessons that are largely applicable to any kind of stringed instrument. The only difference is going to be at the bridge. Ukuleles have a specific bridge where you have to tie a little knot instead of using pins and balls. Banjos have a loop that they hook onto, and that can be different, but not, you can probably figure it out. The main thing that's complicated is how to attach it up at the top, and that is usually the same. This is the same kind of tuner, just smaller, and these are the same kind of tuners. They're almost exactly the same kind of tuners. The only difference is a tuner like this, which is called a slotted headstock, and this secretly works the same way, but it's a little more complicated because the posts are inside instead of outside. This is nice and easy, and that's the way that most things are. Mandolins, banjos, guitars, electric basses, upright basses, things like that. Okay, so thanks very much.